got some amazing social media stars here. I am awestruck, personally. So we'll just go through. I'll just go from left to right, and hopefully you can see. We're going to sit down, though, because this is like an hour long. So we have, yeah, I'll sit there, actually, yeah. All right, yeah, that's Rawvana, social media empress. I'll just start with her. Yeah, Rawvana, I don't think she really needs an introduction, but she's really, I like to consider her like a vegan lifestyle empress. She's like the master of what she does. She has a whole team of awesome people getting stuff done. And we also have Nikki Vegan over there on the side. She is with The Vegan View, which is awesome if you haven't watched it. It's like The View, but it's vegan, and I love it completely. We also have That Vegan Mom, which this is such an important aspect of social media, is showing how to raise the next generation of vegans, and she absolutely won me over when she did like chronometer for her baby in one of the videos, which if you don't know, it's like a nutrition tracker, so really solid parenting right there. We've also got Conscious Chris, he's a blogger, and part of Sweet Simple Vegan. We got Jasmine of Sweet Simple Vegan, and they're also doing awesome lifestyle stuff. I like Cinco de Mayo, they came out with an horchata recipe that was refined sugar-free, but you can spike it with alcohol, which I love. It's like, go either super healthy or super unhealthy. That's just, you gotta keep it that way to keep everybody vegan. All right, we also have Caitlin Shoemaker, also known as From My Bowl on Instagram. I'm gonna be completely honest, I thought it was Frommy Bowl for like the first week I followed her. She probably gets that a lot. We also have Supreme Banana, amazing. I consider her like an alchemist of veganizing foods. She takes all of these things that you would never believe would be vegan, or places that you never would think have vegan food, and she makes them vegan. There's some explosions in the kitchen, but other than that, it's super entertaining. Super great. Okay, and then finally, we have Apples and Amanda's right here, so round of applause. She is studying dietetics, which I think is super important, getting all the educational background, and she's doing a higher fat whole food vegan diet, I saw. So we're gonna talk a little bit about all of that stuff. And really quickly, now that we've got the introductions across, I want to do a little spiel from Thrive. Thrive, again, made this happen. Major round of applause for Thrive, because they're keeping this going. And so we have a little bit. We've got Lily from Thrive here, and she's going to tell you just a little bit about Thrive, and then we'll get to the questions. All right, Lily.
Hi everyone, how's it going? Have you guys heard, first of all, let's just give a round of applause for these amazing social media influencers for being here, for taking an hour of their day to just talk about themselves. I don't know how hard that can be. How many of you have heard of Thrive Market? And it's okay if I don't see many hands. Oh my gosh, look at all of you beautiful people, I love it. For those of you who haven't heard about Thrive Market, we are an online marketplace that sells all of your favorite food, baby products, cleaning products, home goods. You guys can probably help me out here with a couple other things. We sell them all at 25 to 50% off retail price because we work directly with the brands. And all of our inventory is actually categorized by values. So how many of you are vegan? Yeah, okay, makes sense. It's VegFest. So we actually have a vegan category on our website. If you're also gluten-free, how many people are gluten-free in the house? I'm gluten-free. So you can literally sort by vegan, gluten-free, paleo, raw, whatever your dietary restriction is or whatever lifestyle you follow. With the click of a button, we take the homework out of it for you, and you can just sort by all of your favorite products that are also really inexpensive. And it's a beautiful thing. Yay, we love you too! So thank you, Mike, for moderating the panel, and thank you guys all again for being here. We're excited to get the party started.
All right, round of applause for Thrive finally, and we'll get some questions going here. So I want you to be able to hear from these folks really quickly. So you guys want to do just like a really quick nutshell of like why I went vegan and started doing social media. If you think you can do that, go for it. Okay.
That's working. Okay. Hello. I'm Amanda from Apples and Amanda's, and I first started going vegan like my first year of college. I was just jumping around from diet to diet, and I stumbled across this girl who just ate a lot of bananas, and I was like, what the heck? I'm gonna try it. So I tried it with no emotional connection to it, but after I was doing that, I learned about the social, economical, environmental, ethical, and health implications that a plant-based diet can provide. And I have a huge family history of diabetes, hypertension, like heart disease, and I just thought that was something. Oh,
yeah, a little louder.
Sorry. Anyway, all of those health related diseases, I thought that was just something that, you know, just comes with old age. I didn't think that was something that you could fix with diet. So when I learned more about nutrition and plant-based nutrition especially, I was inspired to continue on with learning about nutrition and being able to practice that in a way that would help other people who don't know that connection, because I didn't know it. So if I didn't know it, I just wanted to make sure that I could spread that to as many people as possible. So that's why I'm going in for my degree in dietetics, and I hope that it will help as many people as possible.
Great, thank you. Supreme Banana up next.
What's up, guys? My name is Cammie, also known as Supreme Banana. Why I went vegan? I went vegan originally because I was jumping diet to diet, and then I was like, yo, I actually feel freaking bomb. Finally a diet that makes you feel good. So I kept up with it, you know, did my research, found the ethical side, the fact that we're saving our world, and I just became so passionate about it, but no one wanted to listen to me talk about it, so therefore I turned on my camera, talked to my camera, and then I started my YouTube. And then I kept it up. I realized I loved being in front of the camera, and I have this voice for veganism, mental health, whatever is important to talk about. But yeah.
We'll touch a little bit more on that, but yeah, round of applause. And next we have Caitlin, not from My Bowl, from My Bowl.
Exactly. Hi everyone, I'm Caitlin from My Bowl. I was actually raised as a vegetarian, but my parents never really talked about the ethical connection to being vegetarian. But I stumbled across vegan food, and I remember saying like, oh, I'll never be vegan. Vegans are weird, they don't eat cheese, like what everyone says. But then I always liked cooking, and I thought vegan recipes were interesting. So I was like, oh, you can still make a cake that's fluffy without any dairy or eggs. So it was kind of like a science experiment for me. And then I started to experiment like more in the kitchen with my own recipes, and then I watched Earthlings, and I went vegan overnight, actually on my 21st birthday, which is kind of random. But once I made the ethical connection, I was sold, and now I love making vegan recipes and showing other people that vegan food can be delicious.
Nice. So you're supposed to be getting drunk at 21. She went vegan. All right, Sweet Simple Vegan.
Hi everyone, I'm Jasmine. I was actually introduced to veganism as a diet. When I was 18, I struggled with an eating disorder, and I saw it as a way to lose weight. I was introduced to people on YouTube, and I saw how skinny they were, and I wanted to look that way. And so yeah, that's how I started eating vegan. But then because of that, I started being introduced to the health benefits of veganism, the positives of veganism, the environmental impact, and of course for the animals. And it kind of just changed my perspective. I saved myself from my eating disorder. I lived a much healthier life, and once I went vegan, I started my Instagram because I just wanted to share it with my friends and family. Everyone thought I was insane. Everyone thought I just ate lettuce and vegetables and whatever, so I started sharing my recipes online, and more people became interested. I created my blog, and now I have a YouTube channel with my boyfriend, and yeah.
Sweet. All right, Conscious Chris.
Hi guys, I'm Chris. I went vegetarian about 10 years ago, and then I went vegan 5 years after that. I went vegan for ethical reasons. There was a Canadian punk band called Propagandhi. I think they still play, and they had a lot of information in the leaflets of their albums, and kind of just opened the gauntlet into a whole new world for understanding what happens to animals on a regular basis. So I went vegetarian the night I saw them in concert, and then I slowly learned more and more, and then went vegan after that.
All right, thank you. And how is everybody in the back able to hear? Is that good? Good? More? Okay, you can hear it, good. But everyone try and keep the microphone pretty close.
Close. Is this good enough?
It's perfect.
Hi guys, my name is Natasha. My YouTube channel is That Vegan Mom. And I went vegan 4 years ago, and I mainly went vegan for health reasons. I actually got a stomach virus, which if you've ever had one, they're no fun. So I knew I needed to change my lifestyle, the way I was eating. And at the time, I was also breastfeeding my son, so I knew that I had to eat more vegetables, more fruits. That was basically what was recommended for nursing. And so I just learned more about a plant-based diet. I was plant-based for a year, and then in 2014, I went vegan. So it all started off with health, but soon after I learned about the ethical and all the other things, environmental impacts and everything, and it was so easy to stay on this lifestyle for so many reasons. So now I just share what I eat, especially because in a family setting, it's really hard if you have a husband, boyfriend, or partner, and you know they're not vegan and you are. So I try to show meals that are practical, that anybody can enjoy, even your mama, your daddy. If you're Latino, you know, I'm Argentinian, so my family, you know, carne asadas all the time. So, you know, I have to come up with meals that are going to be enjoyable for them. That way I don't have to cook animal products in my house. So that's what I try to share on my channel. I also share how I feed my son, who's in the audience. And I just had twins and stuff, so I had like a vegan pregnancy. So I share a ton of stuff on my channel, but I don't want to get into that. It's a lot.
All right, thank you.
Hi, my name is Rawvana Mendoza, and I'm known as Rawvana on social media. And I'm so happy to be here with you guys. So I became vegan about 5.5 years ago. And it initially started as a detox because it was my New Year's resolution to quit drinking alcohol and smoking cigarettes. At the time I was smoking like half a pack of cigarettes every single day. It was so bad. And so I said, well, now that I'm on this like no drinking, no smoking, how about we take it up a notch and then do like a body cleanse? So I went to this place called Optimum Health Institute in San Diego. I did like this 2-week raw food diet. It was the first time I was ever introduced into a vegan diet, a vegan lifestyle. The first time I ever heard in my life that you could get enough protein on a vegan diet. And I was like, wow, I feel so good. So much clarity of mind, like just happy. My skin was better. I had energy and I didn't have like an urge to drink or smoke. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna like stick to this. I feel really good. And then like about a month later, I just decided to start to share this information on my Instagram and on my blog. And then a few months later, I created a YouTube channel. I said, you know what? No one's talking about this in Spanish. Like I need to talk about this in Spanish. Both of my parents are Mexican, so I said, okay, and I'm bilingual, so I do everything in English and Spanish. And that's basically what I want to share with people, like all the amazing benefits that I had on a plant-based diet and that anyone can have too. So that is me.
Finally, Nikki Vegan. Do you prefer Nicole or Nikki?
Nicole, Nikki, whatever's easy to remember.
Cool.
Hey guys, my name's Nicole. I have a channel called Nikki Vegan. I kind of went vegan on accident because I was living in New York and it was really, really, really cold and I would get really lazy, and so in order to avoid going out in the snow and to go to the grocery store, I would just live off of like oatmeal and whatever pasta I had. You don't want to see what I was eating, it was bad. But I wasn't eating the same amounts of animal protein that I had been prior, and then I moved home to save money before I moved back to LA, and I went back to eating kind of the normal way, which was, you know, eggs for breakfast, turkey sandwich for lunch, chicken or fish for dinner, and I felt the difference immediately. And at the time I thought it was just too much protein, but then I realized, oh, there's something to this animal thing, so I took to YouTube, and I saw these people eating huge quantities of food. And that really appealed to me because I too had an eating disorder, and I really feel that I learned so much through slowly transitioning into veganism, not only about how to eat properly, and it really helped me kind of cure my eating disorder and the residual kind of feelings about that, but it also gave me, by sharing it on my channel, it gave me a sense of purpose. It helped me realize that I can be of use just by sharing the things that I love, and so it's really been something that I think is like, it's good for me and it's good for other people, so it's something that's awesome. It makes me happy.
All right. Will have a huge amount of pressure. Like, I mean, round of applause for all these people just sitting here in front of like 1,000 eyes right now. That is great. That's not easy to do. But you also get a lot of hate in the comment section, and most of us have experience on YouTube. I think everyone here does. And so I guess the question is, whoever feels like they want to answer it, what is your mechanism of dealing with all the hate, or like how do you plow through that, or how do you respond to it? You know, rise above or get down on the ground and mud wrestle it. I don't know. So whoever feels like doing that, go for it. Maybe we'll have 2 or 3 answers for that. Move along.
So for me, I read this book. It's a pretty popular book. It's called The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And he makes a comment about criticism, and he says that you should think critically about the criticisms that actually hurt you, because it's probably something that you're insecure about. So YouTube is definitely a sketchy place when it comes to comments. I definitely get some weird ones. I get some making fun of my last name, asking me if I make shoes, and so things like that. I'm like, okay, that's funny. I'm glad you got your laugh, but it doesn't personally affect me. But then when people make, I guess, some comments do affect me, so then I realize that's an area that I'm more insecure about. But I always try to keep in mind that everyone has their own issues that they're trying to work through, and even if a comment is particularly hurtful or just kind of out there, I try not to take it to heart, and I try to sort of take a step back, because I think the comments can really get to you, and if you let them get to you, it can definitely bring you down. And it is hard sometimes, but I'd say for the most part, with practice, it's become a little easier, just trying to realize everyone is going through their own thing, so I can't take it too personally.
For sure, for sure. Anybody else have anything? Rawvana? Supreme? Yeah? Okay, Rawvana's going.
I completely agree with Caitlin, not taking anything personal. I get so many like good and bad comments, and I also like, where do you focus your energy? Like I could focus, like there could be 100 positive comments and like 3 negative comments, and I would notice myself like focusing on those 3 negative comments, and I would like tell my mom or tell anyone, oh my gosh, look what they said, look what they said. And then I was like, you know what, like I'm not going to put my energy there. Like that is their perspective. Like anything that anyone says to me has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with them. So that is kind of my thinking behind it, and like focus on like all the positivity that I am spreading, and I know who I am, and I know my intentions, and I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. So that is it.
Well said, well said.
I just wanted to add too that a lot of times on the internet, people don't think that you can like see them or hear them. They'll leave a message, and then if you respond in a way that's just a little bit nice, it's really amazing to see how much they turn around, and all of a sudden they're like really nice about it, and they're really impressed that you weren't offended and that you took the time to hear them and listen to them. So I find that if you can just like go beyond getting upset and try to reach out and hear them, that makes a really big difference.
That is so true.
Yes, sending love to everyone is like super important.
Yeah, that reminds me, I had this one comment, and this dude's like, you look so emaciated, you look like you just came from a POW camp. And I'm like, okay. And then I responded to him, and then he started talking nice. He's like, oh man, no, I really love your videos. I just like wanted to let you know you'd be a better advocate for veganism if you were like really buff. I'm like, oh my god, that's the best way to go. Well, you got my attention. Okay, so here's another one. What keeps you going? Because creating videos, if you've ever edited a video, and everybody on this whole panel has, you know it is not easy to keep making videos. I've probably met with like 20 people about starting a YouTube channel, and maybe one of them actually did because the editing was so hard. And so my question is, what keeps you going on social media, even whether it's Instagram or YouTube, to keep making videos week after week or 2 times a week? So whoever has a point, maybe someone we didn't hear from yet. Okay, go for it.
I basically, well, it's really hard for me to edit videos and put up content because I just had twins. So, but I honestly feel so motivated because of the messages that I get, and I guess the feedback from my videos. I get so many messages and emails from people saying how much it's helping them, like if they're currently pregnant or if they have a child, and just the examples that I share on my channel and how I feed my son. Like a lot of people find that helpful because, you know, when you're starting a new diet and stuff, you don't really know like where to start, how to feed your child, and it's like a whole new world. So just having an example there, a video where like I'm showing like how I'm feeding them and showing, you know, like the nutrition behind it, not just like, oh yeah, just give them this and that, but saying, no, this has this many vitamins, or it has whatever in it, protein, because you know protein's like a huge concern, especially with kids. Fat and protein, they always say that they're so deficient, and it's so untrue. So you know, the comments and messages that I get, it really motivates me to keep going. And even though I'm only able to put up maybe like a video a week, you know, that's still better than nothing. So yeah, that's basically. That's solid.
And I'm glad you answered that, because I had a question for you that was, how do you make videos and children at the same time?
Well, my
probably should have reworded
it. I honestly sacrifice sleep. Like the only time I have to edit videos is at nighttime. So I would have to sacrifice sleep 1 night or 2 nights or 3 nights, you know, edit a little bit at a time. My videos aren't super, you know, productive or anything. They're really simple. I've simplified them because that's all I can do. But it's the information and the examples in it that's helpful to people. So, you know, I just do the best that I can right now, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Let's move on. What keeps you going? Supreme Banana. Why not? Your face, Libby.
Definitely what she said. I was just going to say that exact same thing, that the comments are like insane motivators. And it kind of is the same deal as negative comments. People think that they're not seen, they're not heard. And I feel like it's almost the same with positive, but those positive comments literally are the reason I've been doing this for 4 years. Like the reason I understand like that I'm actually helping people, or people I'm actually somewhat a little bit funny, or people can relate or stuff like that. Like the comments are just, they're really good. And also being passionate about what you do and finding your exact kind of style and creation. And if you don't like it, don't do it. But if you like it, like grow your talent and learn to love it. Like I mean I have, and I assume everyone here has. So yeah, those two things.
Awesome. Yeah, actually the next question, yeah, round of applause for that. The next question that I had was going from negative to positive, which is like, what is the most positive comment you've ever got or story you've heard from a viewer that really kept you going? Apples? What's your new name? Sorry.
My name is Apples. The most positive comment?
Or something, have you gotten like positive comments that you feel are just like, bam, yes, that's keeping me going? If you don't, we can pass to someone else.
There's just a lot of them that I can't really pinpoint one.
That's a good thing.
In particular, I know it's a really good thing, but my favorite ones are the ones where people have messaged me telling me that I've inspired them to start loving themselves more and treating themselves with more respect and just looking at themselves with higher regards, because that's something that I am constantly promoting on my channel and through my videos and on my Instagram posts. And it's crazy because sometimes those messages will come to me at a time where I am at my low, because we are all human. And I'm like, I put out content that helps people help me. That's crazy. And I just want to keep going. So those are my favorite.
Awesome. Yeah, sometimes it's easy to like forget that you're talking to real people, which sounds ridiculous. But like when you're seeing a number under a video, like it's disconnected from people. That's why this is so awesome. Get to see some faces. So Jasmine, do you want to answer that? Or you and Chris? Cool.
So I started Instagram, like I said, because I wanted to share veganism with my friends and family. And when I first went vegan, I didn't know any other vegans. I didn't know any other vegetarians. And social media is what helped me. I met a community online, and even though I didn't know all those people in person, it was really cool to be able to share my passion with people online all over the world. And I love when people message us, of course, positivity and like appreciating what we're doing, but also just telling us that we are like their vegan friends and they don't know vegans in person, and being able to be that for them, be that support in that community is what keeps me going.
Sweet. If anyone else has any amazing stories from viewers that they want to share, like I've had people who are just like, oh, I watch your videos and others, and now I don't have diabetes anymore. It's like, what? So that's crazy. Yeah, go for it.
I'm similar-ish, but like, I mean, it's amazing when you hear about like you inspired me to go vegan and you inspired me to do this, but also I just want to like emphasize that you don't only have to talk about veganism. That's amazing to talk about veganism, but there's also so many other problems too. Like I try to incorporate like veganism and mental health, and hearing people like, you really helped me through my depression, or you helped me like deal with my anxiety, or have the courage to go to a therapist. And of course it's amazing when it has to do with veganism too, but I mean it really hits home when it has to do with mental health, because that's something I struggled with so much. So that's just like the best comments I can get, along with you inspired me to go vegan.
Yeah. I have a follow-up question. So veganism and mental health, obviously it's a complex topic. So do you feel that going vegan has helped with mental health for you? Do you see it helping people? Because I have some videos on it, but yeah.
Absolutely, because when I went vegan was the first time I really felt like I had a purpose. It sounds kind of cheesy and like cliche, but literally once you realize you are helping yourself, the environment, the animals, you have a purpose. And I mean, also going vegan, like I started my YouTube channel, so it just got the ball rolling. And like, your mental health might be down, but it's gonna make it so much worse if you feel like shit physically. And when you're vegan, most of the time you feel way better, so it helped me like dramatically.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like to not say that like a vegan diet will cure your mental health, but there's so many, especially looking at the literature, things like lowering inflammation, lowering arachidonic acid-based inflammation, and there are studies that correlate that to depression and suicide. So there's some things out there. I just wouldn't be like, you're gonna cure your depression, because it's way more complicated than that. And so yeah, let's move on. I have a question for Rawvana, way down there at the end. So you are a fasting proponent. I saw recently you just had an intermittent fasting video, and so tell us about that. I think the first video I ever saw of you is like in your water fast, and you're like having like a moment, and that's how I was introduced to you. So I have to just ask a question about fasting.
Okay, so do you want me to talk about the water fast?
Or just your view on fasting in general?
My view on fasting.
How about intermittent fasting?
Okay, intermittent fasting. So I recently posted a video which I tried intermittent fasting for 10 days. So intermittent fasting, essentially what it is that you have a period of time during the day when you eat. So the ratio, the most common ratio is 16 to 8. So you're eating 8 hours of the day and you're fasting for 16 hours of the day. And there are many benefits to this, especially for people who are, obviously who have body weight to lose, or they have diabetes or any other kind of like disease. It can be very beneficial for them. Of course, it's always, I said it in the video, talk to your doctor before doing it. I actually did talk to one doctor before doing it, Dr. Mauricio Gonzalez. He's a medical vegan doctor. So yes, I think fasting, well, I did a 25-day water fast back in 2014 in Costa Rica. And essentially what your body does is that it takes all of the energy that it uses into digesting food and moving. You really can't do anything. You're just like laying down the whole time, and it heals the body. And when you're doing intermittent fasting, it does a little bit of that, like on a lower level. And it's also great for people who are trying to lose fat, or a lot of people in the fitness industry who are trying to lose fat, they're doing it as well, because your body uses the fat for energy source. And so like the first 7 days, I felt really good. I had like increased energy, and I felt like a really nice mental clarity, a lot of creativity. But then afterwards, I began to feel tired, like I had to sleep more. And I don't think it's for me, especially now that I'm like training more and lifting weights. So I think it was a good experiment, 10 days. So if anyone is wanting to try it, I would recommend to look more into it before doing it, before jumping into it. And yeah, that's basically my view on fasting.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
So I just thought of a question. I don't want to be too antagonistic, but some people come to veganism sort of in conjunction with an eating disorder. And so I know some of you mentioned that. I'm curious to see if anybody has a history of that, how they view fasting, because it could turn into like a sort of like a calorie restriction eating disorder related. If someone wants to say something about that, otherwise I'll move on. Yeah? No? No? Apples and Amanda's. I got a mic right here.
Fine. Okay, so I myself had come from an eating disorder when I was in high school as well, and I stumbled upon intermittent fasting, and I was like, basically what it is you skip breakfast, and I was like, I already do that anyway, and I'm not like a really big lunch person. I didn't really get it. So I know that I liked eating big meals, and I liked eating breakfast type food and then dinner type food. And I was like, well, I might as well just try it. It was more out of a curiosity thing. I love to do a lot of experiments with myself. And I think the most important thing to know is know yourself and know where you stand with like your food and your relationship with your body before you start it. And also don't see it as a way to restrict calories, because I still eat the same amount of food. It's just within a time window. But I think those who tend to get really obsessive with food or their timing, maybe right now is not the time to try it, or you might want to consult it with a friend or a family member who can see it from an objective view first.
Thank you very much. That was good. Round of applause for that. Why not? So, looking to the crowd, raise your hand if you have some type of social media that you're into doing, like YouTube or Instagram. How many of you have thought about starting a YouTube channel? Okay, enough people for me to ask the question. Caitlin, you haven't talked in a second. So what would be some advice for somebody starting a YouTube channel? If there's anything you could tell yourself when you started, for example.
I think being yourself and being consistent is the best advice I can give. I know that's really vague, but I was listening to a podcast once. I wish I remembered what it was, so I could credit them. But they're saying like when people start social media, they'll see like Jasmine's channel and Rawvana's channel and Cammy's channel, and they'll think that they have to do all three of those things in order to be successful on social media. But in reality, you don't have to do any of those things. You have to do your thing, because I think a lot of people when they first start out, they want to copy other people because they like their style. But I think when people want to subscribe to a new channel, they want to see something that's unique or different, or they want to see people sharing a little bit about themselves. So I always encourage people to share a part of yourself. You don't have to share your whole life. None of us share our entire lives. But I think YouTube, it's definitely a longer format type of platform because people are committing like several minutes to watching your videos versus on Instagram or Facebook. They usually just like scroll past your posts. They'll watch it for a few seconds. So it really gives you an opportunity to share more about yourself and allow you to make more of a connection with other people. That's why I like YouTube so much, because I feel like I really get to make online friends and like connect with people in a different way than through Instagram. So being yourself and then being consistent, that's the hardest part, but if you manage to get on top of it, I think putting out videos regularly so people know that they can come back for more content is a good move.
Awesome, thank you. Chris, do you want to answer that? Sorry. Yeah, round of applause for that. That was well said. Chris, do you have anything to say on that?
Sure. Really, just put yourself out there. As Caitlin really covered it best, but you're really not going to know how people are going to receive anything until you just put yourself out there, be your authentic self. And there aren't a lot of guys in the vegan space, so any guys out there who are looking to put veganism in a positive light for men, it's important, because a lot of people think men can't be strong when they're vegan, or they can't be masculine, and it's the opposite. So I guess that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. You are the only dude on the panel, technically. I'm the moderator, so that's funny. Yeah, and also, by the way, Chris is a master sandwich photographer, so follow him at Conscious Chris on Instagram. Okay, let's go down to Nikki Vegan. I want to hear about the vegan view. How many of you know about the view in general, the old view? The one, not the old, the main view. Okay, everyone does. You know what I mean. They created a vegan version of it. And so tell us about it.
Yeah, so I'm one of the co-hosts along with Danny, Hannah, and Nisha. We're friends in real life, and we noticed that whenever we'd be together, whether we were filming a collab or just going to lunch, we would just sit and talk for hours and kind of vent like vegan issues. You know those things you can only talk about with your vegan friends, you know, about your non-vegan friends? We would talk about that, and we're like, oh man, we should be filming this. Like, I feel like there's got to be other people who feel the same way. And so I think it was last October, we did our first episode, and yeah, consistency has been really helpful for us. We put out one day, and so far we haven't missed one.
50% cheaper.
I live a very busy lifestyle.
Things that I don't actually use that I like, and I know that if I were following somebody, I would want like a good recommendation from them, and I would trust them, and I would hope that my followers did the same for me. So when I'm following people and I'm watching their videos and they talk highly about a product, I'm like, maybe I gotta try it out. And so Thrive Market is not just something that I do like every monthly because I have to. I actually buy things off of Thrive Market like 2 to 3 times a month for my own household use, like without even talking about it on my social medias. I rave about it to my family members.
Yes. And so I crave cooked food, and I said, okay, I'm gonna try cooked foods. And the first year I was eating cooked, I was eating mostly raw, but still low fat. For me, another thing that happened was that I lost my period for a while because I was eating so low fat. And I learned that fats are super important, especially to women. So that's when I started to incorporate more avocados, more seeds, more nuts into my diet, still being very high raw. And I got my period back. So it was easy as that. And now I try to eat very just intuitively and balanced. I try to get my 1 avocado a day because I know that my hormones need it.
And oh my gosh, no more pizza. He's growing fine. He's not delayed. He's actually taller. He's always been taller than, you know, that growth chart. Well, you don't have any kids, but they show you the growth chart at the doctors, and he was always above average. So I'm like, take that.
Yeah, I feel like every vegan mom needs to go to the pediatrician with like their growth chart, like where their kid is, and then the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics position on vegetarian diets, which is that an adequately planned vegan diet is suitable for all stages of life, and that's the largest.
And I like tracking his stuff just to show people, but I already know like he's getting enough of everything. He gets more protein than he even needs. He gets more calcium than he needs for his age, so it's easy to get like all your nutrients on a vegan diet for a child and for an adult.
Yeah.
Or even when you're pregnant with twins, because I did it.
It's good to know because there's kind of this thing with like dairy has IGF-1 in it, which is insulin like growth factor 1, which is linked to higher height, and then it can raise your IGF-1 separately. And so there's sort of this thing that, oh, plant-based kids are smaller because of that, but it's possibly that just like hormones are sort of messing everything up. And so it's kind of an interesting discussion, but we'll move on. So if anybody has any questions for anybody else on the panel, I'm just curious if anybody wants to. Yeah, Nikki.
I just wanted to add real quick too, I think blood tests are so important. People ask me, I'm not a nutritionist, but people will ask me since I make recipes online, you know, what kind of vitamin B12 they should be taking or what kind of D, and I'm like, definitely go to your doctor, definitely go get a blood test. And the best way to silence kind of the skeptics is to get a blood test. I actually did a video showing my blood test results, and that really helped me a lot, especially with my friends that were kind of like, oh, you eat a lot of carbs, that can't be healthy. And I was like, actually, look at this. And so now they kind of don't say that. So I think I always recommend that people go to their doctor and they get the test. And if there is, like I was a little bit low in vitamin D because I'm always inside on the computer by myself. And so I had to take vitamin D, but that's very easy to fix. So I think if you have any concerns about whether or not a vegan diet is healthy, it's very easy to find out and you can take control into your own hands.
All right, nice. Yeah, blood test. Round of applause for blood tests and Nikki in general. So does anybody have a question for anybody else? If not, I want to open it up to the audience real quick. Audience, who's ready? Somebody who I can hear.
I got you.
Okay. Or you can shout. Can you
Okay.
Yeah.
Yay, you guys are amazing. Thank you for being here.
She said, you guys are amazing.
I love
I'm
you.
translating.
So I've started a YouTube channel and it's small right now, and what I struggle with is like I would love to work with other people. So do you guys all work alone or have you formed a team to work with? And if you do work alone, how do you push yourself to get it done? Because for me it kind of feels like isolating and lonely, but if you have gotten a team, how did you do that? So what are your tips?
Okay, so for people back there, she's starting a YouTube channel. She wants to collaborate, or tips on collaboration or like loneliness while doing a YouTube channel. So anybody?
I work alone. I just, like I was saying before, like I'm fueled by my passion to do this, but I've collabed before one time with one of the Vegan View members, and that was like the only collab I've ever done in over 2 years of being on YouTube, but probably you guys can answer better than me.
If you really like want to collaborate and find other people, reach out to them. Like take advantage of social media. I've talked to someone who's like works in YouTube, and they're like, reach out. The worst that can happen is someone says no. Like for me, I want to do more collabs, but I'm way too nervous to reach out to people. But I realize how dumb that is. You know, like what's the worst I can say? Like no thanks, but maybe you'll find a friend or something. So really take advantage of this incredible thing we have, which is Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. Like just reach out to anyone.
Great. And what's the name of your channel you're starting?
Inspiration with Zavia.
Inspiration with Zavia, Z-A-V-I-A?
Yeah.
Okay, great, cool.
Thank you.
Okay, great, awesome. So any other questions from the audience? Probably like first 5 rows or someone with a loud voice.
Got one over here.
Right there.
Hi, Vegan Monique.
Vegan Monique.
Yeah, I had a show for a while called Celibate Vegan Voices.
Celibate Vegan Voices was her show for a while. Okay.
Exactly. My question to you is, when you start talking about other topics and introduce it into the subject of veganism, some vegans actually, they have different ideas or whatnot. And you kind of spoke about this as far as those negative comments that come in. But when it's a vegan, it kind of hits you a little bit more than when it's a non-vegan. So has that ever happened to you? And how do you handle that? Just giving them a lot of love?
Okay, so question was, how do you integrate another topic into you talking about veganism? Yours would be celibacy, correct? Yeah, there's a lot of, there's antinatalism, there's all these things. So how have you dealt with that? Do you have other things you talk about? I know like Rawvana is religious, and I don't know, any, you want to talk about that?
I don't know if I fully understand the question.
So if you have another passion in your life that you want to talk about through social media, how do you talk about that in alignment with veganism, or at the same time, or is there a place for that? How do you deal with it, or how do you deal with hate from talking about other things that are not necessarily vegan?
Well, I mean, I think at the end of the day, we're all vegan, but it's not who we completely are as people. So I think it's important to show that we're all unique. Like Cami mentions that she touches on mental health. Like we all have different passions and like things that we're passionate about. So I think it's a good thing to branch out and talk about other things, because some people don't want to go vegan because when they picture vegans, they picture these crazy people who only talk about veganism. So I think it's important to show that we're all different people, and you can be a vegan and you don't have to talk about it 24/7, and it's awesome to spread the words, but sometimes you can just spread by example too. Like someone will be, oh, that girl looks so healthy and happy, and like, oh, she's vegan too. Like maybe I should look into veganism. So I think it's important to talk about other things, and I haven't really gotten any negative feedback for incorporating like more diverse things. I think people are interested in learning more about other things that I'm passionate about too.
I guess it depends on how far off from like the majority of belief it is. Like with celibacy, you might get more of a lash back or something. I don't know. But I'm really into tiny houses, so I just started another tiny house channel. Tiny It Yourself, TIY, like DIY. Okay, so anybody else want to respond? Rawvana may have had something to say. No? Yeah? Same thing. She thinks the same as Caitlin.
Yeah, same as Caitlin. I think people appreciate it when you talk about other things, and I think also the way that you talk about it, like just being comfortable with talking about it, and then not letting the negative comments affect you. Yeah.
Nice. Do we have anyone have a question for Sweet Simple Vegan here in the middle? Okay.
I just want to know what the panel thinks about the Impossible Burger, and I guess part 2 of the question is, does it bother you at all that it's not organic?
Okay, what does the panel think about the Impossible Burger? This has become a recent point of contention for a couple of reasons. It's like GMO yeast, and it was tested on animals and things like that. So if anybody has anything to say about that.
Okay, so I honestly had no idea that the Impossible Burger wasn't organic, but I also am not sure which brands are or aren't organic that like are similar to the Impossible Burger. I am just all about tiny steps. If the Impossible Burger is going to make your family member who is impossible actually enjoy vegan food, then I'm all for it. You know, we live in a world where this is a grassroots revolution right now, and so I'm just trying to do what I can with what we have.
Thank you. Anybody else? I have a lot to say. No one else wants to say it.
Is that the one? Is that the one that they're doing, taking cells from a chicken? Or
No,
is
that is a little different. The Impossible Burger basically is the one that bleeds. It uses plant-based heme iron. You know, blood is heme iron, hemoglobin. And so it gives it that metallic taste. And so what they did is they genetically modified yeast so that it would ferment and create the byproduct of leg hemoglobin, which is legume hemoglobin. I think it's from soy. And they put it in big vats, and then you get that, and they put it in the burger. And then it tricks people into thinking it's real meat. And so it's the balance of, you know, you have this thing that was, they had to test on animals to get it through the FDA. Or I think they did, or to expedite it at least. So that's a point of contention right there. But then, of course, if you're making the one burger that there's a certain group of meat lovers it'll be the only vegan burger they'll eat that could potentially save millions of animals. And so it's always that vegans just have so many ethical dilemmas. We could spend all day talking about it. So unless anybody has anything else to say. Somebody just handed the Impossible Burger with the ingredients. Yes. Oh, wow.
Is it Gardein? It's not organic either. None of the vegan mock meats are really organic, I don't think, except tofu. Some tofus are organic, tempeh.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and I would not say it's a health food, but it's probably healthier than meat. So
I would say what's more sustainable? What's more sustainable to produce in mass quantities? And it's not causing massive death, right?
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, there's no animal products in the burger itself.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right. Thank you. Next question. Right there in the sunglasses.
Hi, the question is for that being mom. Been vegan for a long time, my wife and I, since 1995. We have a child who's now 5 years old, all vegan. However, all she wants wants to eat are vegan things, but they have to be ice cream based or French fry based.
Junk food.
It's only three. Any resources that you could direct me to that would help us to come up with easy recipes that are good for getting a kid the nutrition, the nutrients that you need?
For the rest of the audience, he's dealing with what every American deals with their children, which is that they just want to eat junk food. Only now it's the vegan version, so new problems.
So my technique, my son's about to be 5, and he's actually like that. He likes junk food, thanks to his dad. He loves, the vegan junk food. So my strategy with him is I let him have, I guess, junk food, but I make it in a healthier way. So like today I made mac and cheese. So if I make mac and cheese for him, instead of putting like, the mock cheeses like Daya, that's all pure fat and oil, then I would throw in like I make a cashew based sauce because, kids need the fats to grow. So instead of using, those products and stuff that are more junky, then I would make something that's healthier but tastes just as good because it's all about how you season it. Same thing with smoothies. Kids love smoothies, especially if it's hot and they want something refreshing. So that's where I take advantage and I throw in the hemp seeds, the avocado, high protein plant milks are great also. So you can easily pack in a ton of nutrition in there. And also in pasta sauces, you can also mince like a bunch of vegetables super small. So like mushrooms and things like that he doesn't like, which he's hearing me right now, but I throw it in there. And nutritional yeast is also really great. That has a ton of minerals and vitamins in it, so that's like a must-have every day. So those are just some tips, but it's just every day trying to make it enjoyable for them with what they're eating. Oh.
Sorry, we're done right now, but I was just going to make a really bad joke and say, since they're a vegan kid, you can always pull the card of there's animals in that ice cream. But don't do that. Seriously, don't do that. All right, that's it for this panel, so thank you so much for coming and staying here, listening.